What if the answer to the chaos in your home, or maybe that nagging doubt you feel in your quietest moments, what if the answer wasn't about trying harder, but about finding more clarity? Today, we're going to explore how this simple act of seeking knowledge can be this incredibly powerful tool for turning our deepest distress into real, lasting peace.
Our journey kicks off with a phrase that can just absolutely shatter a parent's heart. "Mom, you don't know anything." I mean, those aren't just words, right? They're a sign of a deep, painful disconnect, and they plant this seed of helplessness that can feel totally overwhelming. And this was the daily reality for a mother named Asia.
So let's dive into this story of struggle and confusion. It begins where so many of these stories do, right inside the four walls of a family home. For Asia and her two kids, 9-year-old Ayan and 5-year-old Zoya, that world was completely falling apart.
Asia's home had pretty much become a battleground. We're talking daily arguments, tantrums, the whole deal. And as her own control started slipping, she found herself yelling, sometimes even hitting back. The absolute low point came when her son disrespected her right in front of guests, which forced her to face that awful question, where did I go wrong?
But here's the thing. This feeling of helpless confusion isn't just about parenting. It can creep into the most personal, quiet parts of our lives. So while Asia was feeling it in her chaotic home, another woman, Aisha, was feeling the exact same distress during her worship, constantly worried and anxious, not even knowing if her prayers were valid.
So you have these two women, both just lost in their own fog of doubt and stress. But in their own separate moments of total despair, they both took the same crucial first step. They decided to seek out the path to knowledge.
And right here, this is basically the universal blueprint for change. It all starts with recognizing the real problem. For Asia, she realized it was her own approach. The next step is to actually seek out guidance, which they both did. And then, the final, most important step is to just ask questions, to actively choose clarity over confusion.
So let's look at the wisdom Asia got from the scholar. And it began with a really profound and, honestly, a difficult truth about where real change has to begin.
The scholar told her this, and just imagine hearing it. Children aren't born disrespectful. We either teach them with our behavior or we forget to guide them. Wow. That was a total reframe for Asia. Suddenly, the focus wasn't on trying to fix her kids, it was about fixing the environment she was creating for them.
And this is the practical roadmap she was given. First, change yourself, because a calm response always de-escalates a fight. Second, change the environment to build a new foundation of peace. The third pillar is so important. Learn to listen. Look past the anger and try to see the insecurity underneath. And finally, you transform your response. You replace a physical reaction with the spiritual weapon of prayer or dua.
Okay, so just as Asia got a clear roadmap for her home, Asha got clear-cut knowledge to silence all those whispers of doubt that were ruining her worship.
You see, Aisha's anxiety was all about wudu, or ablution. This is the ritual purification you need before formal prayers. And her constant fear was that simple little things, like dozing off for a second or getting a tiny paper cut, were breaking her wudu and basically invalidating her prayers every single day. So her knowledgeable friend Sana gave her this list, the 7 specific things that actually nullify wudu. And the details here are what changed everything. It's not just any blood, but blood that flows. It's not a light little nap, but a deep sleep where you'd actually fall over. With this simple clarity, Aisha realized her constant fears were completely baseless. And this gets to the heart of it, right? This is the shared solution to their very different problems. For both of them, knowledge was the antidote to doubt. It just swept away the anxiety of guesswork and replaced it with the peace of knowing what to do.
So what happened when they put this knowledge into practice? I mean, what was the actual result? Well, let's look at the incredible transformations that followed.
Now, this wasn't an overnight fix, not at all, but the change was absolutely profound. As Asia kept replacing yelling with listening and reacting with praying, the entire atmosphere in her home just shifted. It went from being chaotic and stressful to overwhelmingly peaceful. And then came this one amazing moment. Her son, Ayam, came up to her and said, "Mom, I'm getting angry, but I won't get angry." He had actually learned to recognize and control his own emotions. For Aya, this brought tears to her eyes. But for the first time in a long time, they were tears of pure joy.
And what about Aisha? Well, armed with that clear knowledge, she could finally pray with khushu.
That's a term for having a heart just filled with peaceful concentration, totally present and free from all those nagging whispers of doubt. Her anxiety was just gone, replaced by this tranquil certainty in her connection with God.
So, what do we pull from these two parallel journeys from distress to peace? What's the one big idea that connects the struggles of a mom in her home and a woman in her prayer?
It's really this. The act of seeking knowledge doesn't just solve one little problem. It creates a ripple effect. Because a home that's rooted in wisdom and patience, or a prayer that's rooted in certainty, that doesn't just change one person. It truly has the power to change entire generations.